Hello and welcome to episode 150. 54?
It is.
Check my chat. Is it?
It is.
Nailed it. I just realized because I'm using Adobe Audition, I don't save the file. I don't save the folder first anymore because I
saw the panic on your face. It was great. The moment you started, welcome to 150. Let me just drag this 50 out while I look for the episode.
I had to open my file explorer, just be like, okay, what was last week's one? Had episode 154. Check pod chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa, joined as always by Matthew Figueroa.
The keeper of episode numbers, apparently. Because sometimes
this is why you earn the big bucks.
I've got to keep you in line, right? So, yeah, this is why I earn the big bucks,
This is why you earn the big bucks.
The multiplier of zero is still zero.
Wow. Right. You haven't watched Loki, have you?
I have not watched Loki yet. I am behind on lots of Marvel stuff. I think I've watched the first 3 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I just need to binge it all one evening or one Saturday.
It's a slow burn. It's like it's weird saying this because there's only 3 of them, but it's my least favorite of the 3, even though it is still pretty good.
I did watch WandaVision. I enjoyed that.
WandaVision's real good, yeah.
I mean, I think the last episode was a bit meh, but the actual show was, in terms of production value and acting and whatnot, was real good.
I agree with you. I also think that you haven't got there, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier struggles with its finale as well. And I think Loki is the first of the 3 that nails that finale like crazy. Well, I thought so.
I was just going to say, so I think you, Darren and Kervin were like, wow, that's some of the best shit we've seen in our lives. And then I think was it Tracy and or Noel were like, it's okay.
It's a very I get the criticism of it. It's maybe an underwhelming finale for the season as a standalone thing.
Yeah.
But what it does is it sets up
future stuff,
the MCU going forward in a very fascinating way, and that's why I think I liked it.
Well, what's cool is that just this week I think we got a release date for the new Hawkeye show.
I'm actually quite keen on that.
Which it's actually really nice that we're getting these inverted commas, smaller shows that touch on some of the side characters. Hawkeye's an Avenger, but you feel like he's just there. He's just the dude who shoots a bow and arrow. Doesn't have superpowers. It's just Hawkeye. Same goes for Falcon and all these other people.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool because they relatively big characters in the films, but they're not a Tony Stark or a Captain America. So they don't get as much screen time. So especially with WandaVision, got to see a whole different side of Wanda and Vision. WandaVision.
Is that why the name's that?
Hey, just didn't even realize until now.
Wow.
And it also has some cool implications for the future of the films, which I think is really nice. So
yeah,
there's actually quite a bit of stuff coming this year still. We've got the What If animated series, which
very excited.
At first I thought it would be just a fun spin-off type thing, but in the context of what happened at the end of Loki, I'm like, oh, this actually might be important.
Oh boy, that's probably my only concern. Not really a concern, so much as I will make the time to watch the shows because I'm keen to watch Marvel shows. Lenska probably won't get around to watching the shows because she's not as interested in them, but she will watch the theatrical releases. So you're kind of going to miss a lot of nuance and some side stuff if you're missing out on all this backstory. But I suppose it's the same.
Think so, yeah.
I suppose it's the same if you were, reading actual comic books where it's there's this arc and did you read this character's arc and this and that. You might miss out on some stuff. So I don't know, it depends how into it you are, I guess. But I feel like they're really hammering down this. There's a lot of media across different places that you need to keep track of if you want to really get the full story.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to see how they do that because, like you said, some people just watch the movies. So how do they still bridge that gap while also not being like, okay, here's a 30-minute like catch up that if you've watched the series is real stupid because hey, you watched the series, you already know the shit. So.
Yeah. Like I mean, as an example, having only finished WandaVision, I'll know why Wanda does certain things in the upcoming film because she
or
learns
why Vision is like looking different.
Exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah. I mean that itself. You're like, but hang on, didn't he die? Like, what happened? So
otherwise, you end up in the Star Wars scenario where like you went to watch the Force Awakens and C-3PO had a red arm, and you're like
what?
Why? And they never address that, and then it's like it's addressed in some like prequel comic or something.
Yeah.
And then it just like never ever factors into it again. You're just like, okay, well, that's strange. Yeah. So yeah, stuff like that. But I guess the stuff that's happening in the Marvel series is far more important than a character getting a new arm. So
you never know.
Maybe
a
bad example, maybe. But it's Loki. Loki's really good. We've got the What If series coming soon. Hawkeye's coming, and I think still this year is Miss Marvel.
Is that this year?
Very keen for. Yeah.
Okay.
Very very keen for that. I think the game, for all its faults, did a really good job of introducing a whole new audience to Kamala Khan. And the character of Miss Marvel, and to be honest, she was probably one of the best parts of that game, especially in the campaign. So yeah, I'm keen to see that translated into a series.
Is it a series, not a film?
So it's a series for now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Disney Plus series to introduce her, but I assume she'll be introduced in the films eventually. Yeah. I think that's what's cool about the series as well. They can do a lot of the legwork for origin stories, which
get that out the way.
Exactly. Some of the weakest Marvel films are the origin stories because it's like, having to introduce a character for the first time and stuff. So I don't know. Although that Shang-Chi movie is looking pretty good.
That's also out. Yeah, good lord.
Yeah,
there's actually a lot of Marvel
September.
stuff.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch the Uncle Ben arc and the new Spider-Man when you go multiverse.
That movie is actually coming this year still in December.
Oh, is that it can't be. I don't believe
we haven't got a trailer yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single anything from that movie.
I thought the trailer would only come out after the end of Loki. I think Kervin actually mentioned as well. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're waiting for Loki to finish because there's some implications there.
Yeah.
But now there's still nothing, so...
Well, shit.
I would love to know what the fuck's happening in that film because it seems wild from all the rumors. Just like
well, we're getting all these cameos and different returning actors. So
yeah, got the actor for Doc Ock from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man saying he's involved. So like, that's
shit.
cool, man. I hope it's not another thing like WandaVision where they bring back like Evan Peters and you're like, oh my god. They're merging the two universes, and it turns out he's just
there. Like, come on.
It was a troll casting, like the most troll casting ever.
Yeah, it really was. It's bizarre. Anyhow, that's Marvel stuff, right? We're enjoying.
It's good, yeah.
Enjoying all the Marvel shenanigans.
Speaking of Marvel, DC had a new film out. Well, coming out this coming week.
Suicide Squad, and that's been
getting good reviews,
real well. I am so far behind. Do you think I'm behind on the Marvel TV shows? I am years behind on the whole DC universe. Like the last film I watched was Batman v Superman. That was how long ago now? Like I've missed. Oh wait, I lie. I've seen Wonder Woman, the first one, but I've missed Justice League. I've missed Aquaman. I've missed the second Wonder Woman. I've missed the Snyder Cut. Like there's just a lot going on.
Out of all those, I'd say Aquaman's the only real good one out of there.
But I gotta get
that second
WandaVision.
No, that second Wonder Woman sucked. It was bad.
Really, I know.
And Justice League is bad, and then the Snyder Cut. I thought the Snyder Cut was okay. Like it's definitely better, but it's not. It's not like revolutionary. But yeah, Aquaman's fun because it's like Star Wars underwater. I thought that was like pretty cool.
Is it Star Wars the Phantom Menace? You know, where you go visit the land of Jar Jar Binks.
There's enough CGI to make it seem like that for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm still not used to the CGI that makes their hair look flowy underwater. It looks very strange, I think. I mean, I get it that it's a cool thing, but it looks bizarre to me.
How
and like
bizarre.
like seeing like someone like Willem Dafoe underwater with long flowy hair. It's just
Is Willem
strange.
Dafoe in that film? Oh,
yeah, he's like
the Green
Jason
Goblin.
Momoa's mentor.
This
Yeah,
is a crossover I didn't know I needed.
Green Goblin in the underwater Star Wars battle for the ages.
Isn't it weird actually how some actors have made appearances in different universes / different characters? Like we had Ryan Reynolds as the Green Lantern. He's now Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
We had Chris Evans as the dude from Fantastic Four that the Human Torch, and then he went on to be like Cap.
That's even in the same universe.
Yes.
I mean, well, that's even in the same Marvel, I guess. So,
but you know what? That casting you mentioned earlier, they could 100% do that. For example, where when they do the Fantastic Four film, he comes back as a Human Torch, like he's done with Cap.
That would be so funny. That'd be so.
Oh,
I'd be like,
God.
man, you look so similar to Steve Rogers. And he's just like, I don't see it.
What do you mean? I don't see it.
Like,
yeah, what's going on here? Hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be funny. You've also got like Michael B. Jordan was the Human Torch in that Fantastic Four reboot, and then he was Killmonger.
You just think of the whole of Hollywood, tons of actors and actresses, all highly talented. Like, do they go look at this person and go, they've played a role in the superhero film before, that they've got some experience here. Let's bring them back. Someone else.
I'm glad Chris Evans didn't stop on Human Torch, because I thought he was great as Steve Rogers.
Oh yeah.
We wouldn't have got so many fantastic gifts. Like, you look at him in Fantastic Four, and it looks like a different man. He's so lanky.
He's
compared to where he's bicep curling a helicopter in one of the Marvel films.
There's a 1, 2. Okay, you can land.
He's literally doing that. He's like holding it with one, and then he switches his grip, so he's just bicep curling this helicopter back to a landing pad. It's the most ridiculous. Whoever wrote that scene, bless you. Honestly. Bless you for giving us something like that.
And then they told Chris Evans, like, listen, we know you're quite buff, but there's a scene coming up. You're going to have to do some, gym 3 times a day now instead of twice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
God.
It's like, there's this helicopter trying to pull away, and then there's your arm.
Yeah.
So just think of that every time you're curling something.
Now, we're not actually going to have you hold this helicopter down, obviously, but for practicality purposes, your biceps have to be at least 3 times bigger now.
At least, yeah. Otherwise, people will do the math and they'll realize your arm would have ripped off in reality. So
they'll realize this movie is fiction. We can't have that.
Yeah. No, we can't have our superhero movie illusion. Questioned about, science fiction. No, definitely not. No.
Yeah. Well,
let's checkpoint chat. Talk about Chris Evans' biceps.
Oh my God.
And video games sometimes.
So this intro time tag is called Marvel Shows and Biceps.
Hell yeah, that is that's the show title. Chris Evans
biceps. Nice, I like it.
The easiest image search for your title.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll just find that.
You've got tons. You've even got GIFs that you can choose from.
Yeah, I understood that reference. Oh. Sure, we talk about games sometimes on the show.
Yeah, we talk about video games every now and then. This week, at least on my end, has been a lot of bits and pieces, playing little bits of games here and there. So I don't have anything like long and eloquent to talk about.
You dip your toes into a game. Oh, it's a bit cold. I come back. Let me dip my toes. Yeah. Oh. That's
kind of exactly it. All the pools are a little bit cold. I just have to give them a little sample, I basically took shots of each game. I didn't have a full Long Island iced tea. I just had the tequila.
Bartender, give me a shot of Flight Simulator. That's the stuff. Give me a shot of Symphony of the Night. Which shot did you take first?
Flight Simulator. Let's start there, because you've downloaded it, so you have some experience of the. I mean, that's part of the experience of Flight Simulator.
I've looked at it in the menu. Wow,
very soothing menu music.
Can I just say on that quickly? The download's 100 gigs, right? Which to me is still fascinating, because I know a lot of the content of this game streams from the cloud, right? Because it draws actual Azure like satellite data to populate. Yeah. But it still blows my mind that this entire game is smaller than Warzone, which I just can't wrap my head around it. I'm like,
man, this game is the size of like two gun assets from Warzone.
Wow,
sounds and all.
So
they take their pew pew seriously.
They do. We've got jet engines, all these planes. I'm pretty sure some pre-populated areas, still smaller than the one map on Warzone. Cool, man.
Could you imagine a battle royale with the map of Flight Sim? It's just like where we're dropping boys, England, the
100
South
planes
Africa.
land on the globe. Who's the last plane standing?
100 planes with 100 people inside each plane.
Wow, it's like a battle royale in a battle royale.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's something I don't think our current tech could even manage that, but maybe
someone is brainstorming that shit.
Yeah,
like 100%. a MMO battle royale where it's like millions of thousands of players all at once.
Oh my.
Yeah, games last like months at a time.
Shit.
Something like that. Yeah. You gotta find places to camp while you actually sleep in real life so you can protect. Listen. I should stop talking because this is $1 million idea. This sounds like DayZ almost.
Exactly. So yeah,
DayZ on a bigger scale. Flight Simulator. Listen, so I played this game very briefly on PC because, listen, I'm not huge into Flight Simulator. Like, I'm not the sort of person to invest like tons of hours into a Flight Sim game. It was more I want to see how beautiful it looks
like.
Yeah, exactly. And the download process, at least when it launched on PC, was an absolute shit show. So never really got into it that much. On Xbox, I mean, it's a big game. Like you said, it's 100 gigs. But it is the first time that the game has had its like big performance updates. It's out on PC now as well. But that has really allowed it to even, I think, work at all on Xbox. And it works, at least on the Series X, really, really well. It runs really smoothly when you're not panning the camera around too quickly. Then it can get a bit like jerky and whatever. But I mean, Flight Sim is more a game of smooth, slow motions as opposed to like quick, twitchy reflex ones. So that's not really a huge issue. And it is gorgeous. Like, I think one of the coolest parts of the game is these new showcase flights that they added for this version, where you can pop into a flight in progress over like Egypt or New York, or there's one in I think it's Barbados. There's one at Mount Everest. You get like a good sampling of some of the best locales that the game has to offer. And if you just want to, like, if someone's in the room and you just want to be like, check this shit out, you load that flight, it loads pretty quickly, and you get to experience how gorgeous that game is, in a bite-sized sort of flight. And then obviously you can do all sorts of other things. Like, you can literally open up a map of the world and be like, I want to fly from this airport to this airport. And then the game will be like, okay, no, you can't do that with the plane you selected because it will never make the trip. So it's like,
this is just like real life, not enough fuel. But come on,
I want to fly from Cape Town to New York on a small, stunt plane, and it's like,
oh my god,
you'll be lucky to make it from Cape Town to PE on that sort of thing.
But it's like, first of all, like that trip would take a week.
Yes, I mean, it is real. So like, you aren't flying at an accelerated speed. So when you take off and you're flying from Cape Town to Johannesburg, if you're charting a flight, it's like, this flight will take 2 hours. And you're like, okay.
So make something to eat.
It's that. It is literally that sort of game. This isn't, and I mean, I'm sure people know that by now. This is not. It doesn't have game-y things to it. There's no campaign or story mode or story mode.
You mean there aren't RPG light elements? Like, you get skill points,
there's no battle pass.
Boost plane speed by 5%,
No, definitely none of that. There's no guns on the plane, so there's no shooting.
Damn
So yeah, it's that sort of game. It's really fun, and it is very chill. Like, when I was playing it, I was just like, you're chilling out, you're taking nice, flights here and there. I did some of the new training modes, which are really good, teaching you very interesting things, like you shouldn't turn at an angle greater than 30 degrees or something like that. This is how you do an approach to a landing. And it's, if a pilot on a real plane suddenly dies and I have to take over, I still would not be able to land that plane.
But you've played Flight Sim. Like, come on.
Listen, you play Flight Sim and then you open up the 747 plane and you're like, what is going on? There are so many more buttons. It is crazy.
I wanted to ask, how easy is it to just get into a plane and fly it? Like, I mean, I presume there's a whole lot of customization you can do, to what degree you want to have control over this plane. But if I were to launch the game now and I just want to get on a plane, do I still have to sit through a whole lot of tutorials, or can I just go ahead and...
No,
okay.
Definitely not. I think the default sort of like settings they put you at is a real good mix of accessible with the right amount of like technical stuff that if you want to really focus on it, you can. But if you just want to fly, like especially on a controller, it feels natural. Unless you're trying to make some ridiculous maneuvers, your plane won't. Because like literally, if you try to take a turn too steeply, it will just go to a black screen. It'll be like you put your plane under too much stress and everything.
So will that happen if you crash your plane as well? It just goes to a black screen.
Yeah. It doesn't get exquisite with the plane accidents for obvious reasons.
Yeah. But I just love that it goes to a black screen. It's like, shh, you did a bad thing.
Yeah, you did a bad thing.
Think about what you've done.
Go to a corner, think about what you did, take a breather. It's that, essentially. So, yeah, like, as soon as I booted it up, I went straight into the showcase flights, and I felt, like, pretty at home. He even inverted the flight controls, which I think is how everyone should fly. Like, down should be up and up should be down when you're flying a plane.
Yeah.
That's just how the joystick works.
I won't even argue with that because I agree. Like, if we're playing a shooter and you invert your controllers, don't talk to me. There's something wrong with you. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you.
And then you get the real strange people who invert their horizontal movement.
Why?
How does your brain work? I would love to know. I'm joking.
You
play the way you want, but that is bizarre to me. I would love to know.
No, it's just so it feels unnatural to people like us. Hilarious.
But yeah, you could give the control to pretty much anyone, even, people who aren't familiar with games, and they would probably be fine, like, kind of controlling it.
Hard cut to Lupin holding a controller going meow. Like, what's going on?
Okay, maybe humans. I should. I mean, Lupin's watched you play games for a long time, so maybe he'd be fine.
Lupin gets a black screen and said, "No dinner for you. You crashed that plane." I can't believe you did this.
You didn't land correctly, so
come on, Lupin.
So I'm very sorry. So yeah, it's cool. And if you want to make it more complex, there's numerous options for you to make it as complicated as you want, and then obviously those sorts of things lend themselves better to, flight sticks and more intricate controls. Because an Xbox controller, it does fine. It's like, it's a bit weird, especially if you're trying to control all these switches and buttons in the cockpit, because you have to use like an on-screen cursor with your thumbstick, which doesn't feel great. But they do a good job of translating that to, I think, a controller in a way that you can have fun pretty quickly. So yeah, it's good. And it's on Game Pass, so...
Yeah, that's cool.
I think it's an easy purchase if you've got an Xbox already, because you likely have Game Pass. So
yeah. I do wonder, sorry, just before we bounce off to your next shot at the bar, how, like, because you've mentioned joysticks, like I know on PC that's pretty much easy to do, right? Like most of those will be USB or have some sort of drivers or software to help set up. I wonder how compatible the Xbox is with, external accessories. I mean, I have to believe it's pretty straightforward because, the Xbox does have the adaptive controller, for example. But yeah, I wonder how easy could I just go buy a joystick and plug it into my Xbox and
so sadly it is a bit of a problem. There's a very small list of compatible flight sticks out at the moment for Xbox, which is a real bummer. Because like you said, it should just work. I mean, the core of the Xbox is a PC. Funnily enough, when you boot up Microsoft Flight Sim, I don't know if this has maybe changed in an update, but you see a mouse cursor. Yeah, like in the corner of the screen. So like, I'm not entirely sure why some flight sticks straight up don't work, but they'll work on PC.
Yeah.
It's probably just a software layer thing. And I hope they address that because, yeah, if people are really going to take this game seriously on a console, then they want to play a flight stick. And, a lot of people say, well, if you want to take this seriously, you'll be playing on PC. Listen, PCs are expensive.
No, yeah, I think that's unfair because like if you're not a gamer, but you've seen one of your friends play Flight Sim, you go, shit, that's actually really cool. Like, I'd love to do this, pick it up as a hobby or just do it. You could go, I mean, the game runs on the Xbox Series S. I don't know how, but it works on an Xbox Series S, which is like way more affordable than any entry or mid-level PC that would run Flight Simulator. So
exactly. I mean, nowadays, at least in local prices, your 3060 is 16,000 rand.
I mean, you can get an Xbox,
that's just your
Xbox
GPU.
and a quarter.
Yeah, and that's like your entry level 30 series graphics card. That's like not even going to run Flight Sim with all its bells and whistles. So like,
there's no. Oh my god! You think about, you still then need a keyboard and a mouse and a screen and a tower and a motherboard and all this other shit.
CPU, yeah,
Listen,
exactly.
I upgraded my PC 3 years ago, and even like I kept, my essentials, right? Like I had a graphics card, fortunately, but even that itself cost me like 20 grand, and that was on Black Friday when shit was on special. So
it's just become more pricey. I mean, I did a PC upgrade last year. Yeah, last year. Just motherboard, RAM, and CPU. And that was over 10 grand. And that wasn't even like the top of the range, like new AMD CPU or anything like. So yeah, PCs are expensive, and more so. So yeah, if I hope that more joystick or flight stick support comes to Xbox, because I think if people want to take it seriously, that's definitely the way to go. So
yeah,
it's good. It's a good game.
Yeah.
Can you believe it's the first Xbox Series exclusive from Microsoft?
Yeah, because it doesn't work on Xbox One. Interesting.
Oh yeah, only through xCloud on Xbox One.
If it wouldn't run on the Xbox One X, because I mean that's, although no, it would, it's still some barriers there.
That CPU is way too slow, and that was always, at least at launch, that was the bottleneck for even modern PCs. It was the CPU. So yeah, it's that CPU would just not deal with it. I mean the GPU, especially in the One X, is stronger than the Series S, so probably. But you combine the CPU speed and the hard drive, and it's like a big no-go, I think. Yeah, way too slow.
Phil Spencer lied to us. He said everything.
He lied. He said within 2 years, although we are fast approaching the first year of that promise. And yeah, I mean,
crazy.
You look at Sony. Sony came out with financial figures this week, and it was like 10 million consoles sold, whatever. Their highest selling game was over this period is Miles Morales, which is cross-gen. And like your games like Returnal and Ratchet, which are exclusive, Returnal didn't even break 600,000 units sold. So it shows you cross-gen was always going to be the way for all the console fanboyism leading up to launch, being like, this is not going to take advantage of the new hardware. Like, people can't even fucking buy the new hardware. Sony doesn't care.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily a money thing. It's just a stock problem. Like,
yeah, especially with this shortage. Like, it's very hard to convince all your studios to just make games for a console that doesn't even have 10 million users, while you have this one with 100 million just sitting there.
But even on that, sorry, I know we diverting here, but the fact that Sony has sold 10 million despite the stock shortages, it's like, how many would they have sold?
Yeah. I mean, this is their fastest selling console.
I read a report just this morning that, so I think the Wii, which is one of the best selling consoles of all time, it's using that as a comparison, and the PS5 is ahead of the Wii by like a few 100,000 units, which is wild to think, because the Wii sold like hotcakes. So yeah,
and yeah, like you said, during a market crippling like semiconductor shortage. So what could they have sold? Yeah,
you'll never know.
Very, very interesting.
Okay, but what is the next shot you took?
Next shot at the bar. So this is an ongoing shot. I keep taking more shots of this like every night.
Every night.
I'm finally playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Nice.
I started it on PS Vita a while ago, and then I think life got in the way. So I actually started it up on PS Vita again, and I was like, this feels kind of crap. It feels like a bit laggy and slow, and I'm not a fan of this. So
the screen is small.
The screen is very small. I found the version, Xbox 360 arcade version, that runs on the Xbox Series X. Good on you, backwards compatibility. And I'm playing it there, and it feels a lot better. For some reason, it feels easier. I don't know if they made changes to the arcade version, because I'm almost certain that on the PS Vita version, which is the PS1 version, when you save, your life doesn't get replenished. On the Xbox One, it does. And I'm just like, that doesn't...
I could be... I can't remember. I played it a long time ago.
I'm finding it a lot easier to play on the Xbox version. I don't know why, but maybe it's just because of the fact that the controls feel a bit less latency laden.
Yeah.
I don't know if the emulation on the PS Vita is like the perfect way to play.
Yeah, maybe there's a bit of delay with that emulation.
That and I can use the thumbstick to do spells, which is a lot easier.
Yeah, the right thumbstick.
Yeah, or no, the left thumbstick. It's just easier to do like quarter circle motions.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, because you actually have to input spells. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I looked up a list of all the spells. There's some complex as hell spells there. My God,
that game. So I finished that game a long time ago, and I looked up stuff after, and there is a shit ton of content in that game, and it's like a lot of it's hidden. I mean,
yeah, most of it's hidden. Even the true ending is hidden.
Even the true ending. Like I finished a game, and I was like, "Huh, that's weird." This game was like I remember reading somewhere that they flip the castle on its head, and it's like a whole separate game.
Hidden, yeah.
And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, you have to trigger this hidden ending, and then
So you got the bad ending. You killed Richter, and that was it.
I was like, damn, what is this game?
Didn't even fight Dracula. What is this? Castlevania for babies?
Yeah, but for those of you who don't know, Symphony of the Night is like the blueprint of almost like the perfect Metroidvania. It came.
It's the first time Castlevania became a Metroidvania.
Yeah, I mean that was on PS1, right? That was its home. Yeah, that was its actual launch.
1997, I think it came out.
That game is 100% a masterclass in design, because, like we've said, you get a true ending which quite literally takes the game and like flips it on its head, in the sense that the castle you've navigated gets inverted and it works.
And it still works from a level design perspective. Yeah.
Which is just insane. Like when I unlocked the training, I was like, how? This is insane.
Quite insane to think about. That's like from software levels, sort of like level design. It's incredible. It's great. Like, I've been watching a lot of playthroughs of all the Castlevanias. I don't know why, but that's just what I've been watching during work. And it's been interesting seeing like how different Castlevania is to like the rest of the series before then. I can only imagine how jarring it must have been for fans. Because like, firstly, it doesn't feel this way either, but it doesn't seem as hard as the previous ones. The previous ones are very much, your action games of that era. Very challenging side-scrolling action games that, punished you for dying. This one seems a lot more forgiving. And its difficulty is more in like figuring out where to go, like getting items but at the same time, old games of that ilk sometimes felt far too obscure for their own good. This one, I feel like I get an item, I'm like, I know exactly
where to go. Yeah.
And I don't need to do some weird things like a lot of RPGs at the time. You'd have to go to the place you need to do something, go into your menu and press like X on an item, which doesn't seem like natural. It doesn't seem like a this is how you use items going into a place. Here, it's just like, if you're at a door and you've got this item, the door just opens. You know what I mean? So it's cool. I really am enjoying it. I like the sense of exploration, and the music is top notch. Really,
that music
really
is good, right?
It's so good. Like I've been watching, like I said, I've been watching walkthroughs of Castlevania games, and up until now, I've really enjoyed the soundtrack from Rondo of Blood, which is actually the quote-unquote prequel to this game. It's Richter working his way up to Dracula, and Symphony of the Night starts with Richter at Dracula. And that game has got phenomenal music. Symphony of the Night equally so. So yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm also keen because this is the Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night are the new sort of bases for the next series of Netflix.
Yeah, the next step in that series.
It's going to be Richter, Maria, and Alucard. So, really, I didn't realize until I started watching all these walkthroughs that there actually is a game with Trevor. It's Castlevania 3.
Yeah, no, I think I didn't realize. I mean, I don't know my Castlevania history that much, but I did know that they've sort of like loosely followed, what they've established in the
Castlevania,
games.
and then Simon Belmont is like a descendant of Trevor and Cypher, and even in the game, Cypher. I mean, you can play as Trevor, Alucard, and Cypher in the game. Like you can swap between them. And only at the end, Cypher reveals herself to be a woman. You think she's a man the whole time, which is kind of how the series worked, although it accelerated that process a lot quicker. So yeah, kind of interesting. Like watching that in the with the context of the series, they did a really good adaptation and then expanded on that. Like really, like Carmilla in the series, because you've watched the series. Correct?
Yeah, I've watched it. Yeah.
Like Carmilla is just a mask in the game that is like a boss that is possessed, and in the series they turned her into a full-on vampire.
It's an actual character, yeah.
Yeah, but they kept the. If you look at the mask in the game, she has like a pointy chin, and in the series they really emphasize that, just to be like, hey, check this shit out. Yeah, very very cool. So yeah, you could say I'm on like a Castlevania binge right now. But Symphony of the Night is fucking great. If you've never gotten to it, it's really easy to play on an Xbox now, and it's just really good. I really, really am enjoying it. And I'm playing like an hour a day and having a great time. I get the same sort of feeling like I do from Dark Souls, where I overextend and I push myself too far and then I die and I'm like, fuck, I saved so far away. Like I got to do all that shit again.
Goddamn.
But it's so good. I really
we
really
met old Koji Igarashi, the main man behind Symphony of the Night.
Director behind Symphony.
If you can't see yourself getting into Symphony of the Night because you maybe think like, oh, it's too old. There's his modern game, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, is for all intents and purposes a modern day Symphony of the Night. So I still want to play that. I haven't gotten around to it.
I've started a walkthrough of that, and wow. Konami should sue the fuck out of them for the music, because it is straight up Castlevania music. It's not even like trying to be different. It's
amazing.
But yeah, it's a very Symphony of the Night game. It looks really beautiful as well. I also want to play it. I'm very keen to play that.
So where did your drinking binge take you next?
There was third one. Oh,
Halo.
Halo Infinite. I played that for like, I don't know, an hour yesterday, because it only really opened up yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening to this on Monday, the beta's done now. But
snooze you lose.
Yeah. So there are specific times where you'll be able to matchmake with other players, and the rest of the times you play against bots. So I played against bots. They have updated the bots now to a harder difficulty and added a new map, which I haven't tried yet. But the match I played, real good. I mean, it's small. It was a small map. It had all the good hits, like the traditional assault rifle, had the DMR. It had the battle rifle. Sorry. And I got to play around with sticky grenades and deployable shields, and it feels like a very good mix of traditional Halo with some light modern flourishes. I know a lot of people weren't big fans of where Halo 4 and 5 went with the multiplayer. They made it more like not really class-based, but you could choose like an ability. So like your ability would be like a deployable shield, or your ability would be like sprinting, or your ability would be, XYZ.
Okay.
Here, everyone starts the same. You don't have specific abilities in your loadout, but you can find them on the map.
Okay. So it's like power-ups.
Yeah, so I found like a power-up, an overshield power-up, which is very much like Halo 1 sort of thing. And I found deployable shield. Oh, I don't know if the shields were actually part of the loadout, to be honest, because I kept spawning with them. So that I'm not entirely sure about. But when I was playing, I definitely got the vibe of more traditional Halo.
Yeah.
But with the modern touches where so you can't aim down sights, but every gun you have, if you hold down left trigger, you can zoom in, like your visor camera zooms in, and you can shoot in that view.
Okay.
They've mapped, melee to the right stick. It's a click now instead of being on the B button. Everyone can sprint.
That's cool.
So it's got those things which were in Halo 4 and 5 as well, sort of. And you can change the controls back to a more traditional Halo feel if you really want to. But I got up and running with the new sort of control scheme very quickly, and it feels very good. Feels very fast and fluid. And I've already seen some cool videos of people doing some crazy shit with like the grappling hook, like grapple hooking an enemy while they holding a gravity hammer, and as they arrive, they're just like just on top of their heads. And
wait,
really cool.
So they pull themselves to the enemy. That's cool.
Yeah. If you grapple hook onto an enemy, you pull yourself to the enemy. You don't pull an enemy towards you.
Nice.
So yeah, it's cool. The guns feel great. The music, whew. There's a very limited sample set there, but I mean, just from the menu, you're like, oh, this is Gareth Cocker. Yeah, 100%. It's got a real.
I mean, do the okay.
Yeah. He's been brought in to do the soundtrack for Infinite, and it's got a real. I mean, me just coming off of Ori and the Will of the Wisps, it's got a real vibe of the combination of those two games. Like you can tell.
It's a symphonic orchestra with some dramatic piano.
Yes, very much so. It honestly does feel like that. Like you need to find a video of just the menu music on YouTube, and you'll know what I mean. Like immediately, I was like, oh yeah, this is him. So that got me real excited for what will be in the campaign.
So can we expect to cry on Halo Infinite? When some bad stuff happens, either at the beginning
Master
or the
Chief
end.
turns himself into a tree, and then a leaf breaks off, and
good lord.
What's it? He dies, and then he gets nurtured by a good woodland creature on the Halo. Back to health. It's good.
The crossover game we never knew we needed.
Yeah, exactly. He meets Ori, and Ori becomes the new Cortana.
Oh wow. Shit, we're going places here. Cool, but you enjoyed your time with. I mean, I know you played like an hour, but it's got.
I'll play a bit more this weekend.
The taster you needed for Halo Infinite.
That's out soon and very good. It also looks really good. I think
so. They overhauled visuals.
Yeah, I definitely think it looks better than that.
Showcase.
The showcase trailer. I mean, this is just multiplayer, but it also runs really smoothly. So yeah, very happy.
Awesome. Well, on that briefly, you mentioned Ori. I completely forgot you finished it. So in 2 minutes, tell us your
Did we not talk about that? I swear we talked about that last week.
I could be wrong. I don't think we did. Let me check quickly on my side.
Maybe we didn't, but that game is fucking good. Oh my god, that is as 10
I
out of.
love that you like catching up on all these games that I loved last year, like Final Fantasy VII and now Ori and Will of the Wisps. What's next? What did you miss last year that I was like, you have to play this?
Yeah, I need to look at your like top 5 list, because I feel like a lot of your games are games that I was like, damn, I just never got time. Yeah, but Ori, I mean, I've said this on Twitter, but it's a real one of those rare 10 out of 10 games to me. It does everything it needs to do perfectly. It's the perfect sequel. There's very few perfect sequels out there. When you talk about perfect sequels, you're thinking about games like Portal 2 and Mass Effect 2.
Yeah. I need to revisit it purely because I played it like on launch and there were some niggles. There's like performance issues and stuff.
You should 100% try it on Series X.
Interesting.
Because it's you have 2 modes. So you can play it at 4K 120 hertz. Or you can play it at 6K 60 hertz.
Jeez,
and let me tell you, both of those look fucking phenomenal. Just 6K, really beautiful.
What is this?
It's
my eyeballs can't even process detail. 6K. What are you talking about?
Good Lord. Yeah, what a game. I mean, you've spoken about it at length.
Yeah.
But I can just echo that it is one of the best games I've ever played, like without a doubt. Just some of the best platforming feel you'll ever find in a game.
Yeah.
And just exquisite level design that lets you feel like a boss in some of those. Like some of the escape sequences are just incredible. They're nowhere near as hard as they were in Blind Forest, which I think is a good move because it makes you feel like you can do them on your first run and then you just feel really good about yourself. But they are designed so
that last one.
excellently.
The last one had some took some retries.
But even then, it's so good because it's combining so many things. It's like, okay, you can leash to this little glowing plant, and then you can propel yourself through a small little platform of sand, and then you can use bash here, and
it's a good game, man.
It's so.
Now we just need
Moon
to see
Studios, man, they really are just incredible.
And you told me this week that their next game is a what did
an
you
action
say?
RPG.
An action
apparently.
RPG. I'm curious.
Keen. That is, I mean, people look at your marquee AAA releases, but Moon Studios is like low-key probably them in Playground Games, the best studios Microsoft owns at the moment. Just real two studios who just hit it out the park every single time.
Yeah.
Ori's real good. Real
Play that
good.
shit. Okay, I've got my timestamps here. Okay, we've gone long in time, so I'll just very briefly touch on what I've been playing.
No, give me all of your, because our news isn't that long this week. So,
you spoke at length about Death's Door last week. You actually did like a full-on review because you had played it, and at the time I'd only played about an hour or so the night before. I went ahead and I snorted this game, during the week.
As you do.
And as I do, like when they are just like, I like a lot of games, right? Like I think I'm a very easy gamer, and I can fault games, but otherwise I'm generally quite forgiving. Like I'm not too harsh. But when a game slaps, like I really, really get into it, and I can't wait to play more. And Death's Door was one of those where, I mean, my playthrough was only about but it was about 8 hours, which I think is what you more or less indicated.
Yeah.
And having rolled credits now, I mean, there's post-game content, which we'll touch on shortly, but
loads of it, yeah.
There's tons. Holy hell. I mean, you mentioned last week that Andy Cortez 100% of the game, and it was 26 hours.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay. But having now finished the game, I can just 100% echo what you said last week. This is a phenomenal indie title from... What's the studio called again? Is it
Acid Nerve, I think?
Acid Nerve, yeah.
Yeah.
It's essentially an isometric adventure game, which very much, I can say, like, feels like a Zelda. Now that I finished it, it just gave me very strong vibes of the recent Nintendo remake of Link's Awakening.
Oh, yes.
In terms of how...
Good point.
It's funny because you almost want to say it's a Metroidvania because it feels like one, right? Like you can see every area, but you can't get to every area until you have certain abilities. But the way it feels and plays, it reminds me of a Zelda game, but with harder combat, because Zelda games aren't necessarily like super difficult.
No.
But Death's Door feels like harder than a Zelda, but nowhere near as difficult as a Dark Souls. Like there's this very fine balance of, the bosses are challenging, but you're not going to, be stuck in them for hours on end. Just what a great, like another surprise game out of 2021. I just feel that, we think like, oh, this is the second year of COVID, like game releases keep getting pushed out, like, oh, like what are we going to play? But there really have been some pearlers this year, and Death's Door is just another example of a game that comes out of nowhere that, it looks good, it feels good to play, and the music and just
the music is real good. Yeah, the
music, like the soundtrack is phenomenal, and then just like I don't know what to like in the visual style too. Like it's real
difficult
distinct, to pinpoint. Yeah, like it stands out, but I can't quite put my finger on what to compare it to.
I think your comparison to Link's Awakening is quite apt because it does. Okay,
it's
so
similar,
it doesn't have that
yeah.
sort of like shiny diorama style, but I think just the vibe of it is very similar in like it's got a very specific color palette, very flat colors, very muted at sometimes. But then it's got, I think you identified it last week as well. It's got this real interesting like bokeh effect where it keeps the middle of the screen very in focus and then blurs the outsides.
Yeah.
Not in like a lot of games have this, they call it like almost like chromatic aberration sort of. But it's not like that. I think it's almost like you're looking at the game through like a spyglass or something.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. And even if I can just touch on the writing, like It's weird how a game like this can touch on some very serious themes, like the one I mentioned last week. Right at the beginning, there's basically social commentary on the rat race that is life. Like, you wake up every morning and you go to work and, it's just a never-ending cycle. But it's just punctuated with some really good humor throughout. Like some of the dialogue and just stuff you read is just hilarious. I mean, when you fight the Frog King, shit, I laugh. Like every boss sort of gets like, a screen that introduces him with big bold text. But this is like the Frog King. Then it changes like first of his name, blah, blah, blah. And it just keeps adding till the page is full of text with like all these ridiculous monikers. But it's like super serious, but also very light at the same time, which I really enjoyed.
I think my favorite one of those is when you meet death. And it just shows up the same screen as when you die. It's so funny.
It's a nice touch.
I proper laughed out loud. It's got great writing. Like you said, I mean, I think I found it very interesting. After each boss battle, you kind of have like a funeral.
Yeah, a funeral, yeah.
And then you have like the gravedigger there who's saying some interesting things like, not everyone who's evil is evil in everyone else's eyes, you know what I mean? But then he throws in some like real nuggets of like just comedy gold. Like I know the first boss, the grandma, her son, who's got a pot for a head, and they call him Pothead, which I think is so funny.
Amazing.
Just at the end, he's just like, "Rip grandma," and I was just like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, so I mean,
it's very good.
The game is available on PC and Xbox. It's weirdly absent on Switch and PlayStation. I mean, obviously, the more platforms the better, but this is 100% a Switch game. Like, I'd love to, like, I do want to go back and do some post-game content, but I don't think I'm going to 100% it purely because I just want to move on to other things.
There's a lot going on there, yeah.
I read, so there's a true ending, and my God, the things you need to do to unlock this true ending, I was like, damn, they went real deep. There's like a whole separate game here.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about this, the inverted castle. This genuinely has a similar thing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't quite flip the game, but there's a different mechanic that you can trigger that, for all intents and purposes,
changes the entire game.
You can go revisit the entire game and just find new stuff.
Let me tell you, doing that pre-review and not knowing what any of that meant was super confusing. I was just like, have I actually finished the game? I'm not entirely
roll credits,
sure.
You're like, damn, what? I can go back here.
What's going on? Yeah, I'm very, it was.
I can't even fault you because a lot of games these days do this bullshit. Like, I mean, I suppose Kojima's king of this, but like, you get credits like, oh, I'm done. And it's like,
could you imagine? I mean, we know for a fact that happened to some people playing Metal Gear Solid 5.
I was one of them.
Act 1, you're like, beat the game.
Yeah, I was at a local review event and I was the first person to roll credits. I was like, I felt really good.
And it was after like 4 days.
Yeah, I finished this game. And then like everyone's like, wow, you finished the game. And then the game carries on. I was like, I didn't finish it.
They're like Act 2. And you're like,
damn you,
what?
Konami. Damn you, Kojima. But yeah, Dead Store. I mean, if you want to hear a full breakdown of the game, we did speak about it last week. We did a full review, so I would advise heading back to listen to that if you want to learn more. But if you don't want to and you just want a hot take, let me tell you, this game is real good, and I would highly recommend.
You said it's like real cheap on Steam, isn't it?
It's 175 rand on Steam. It's
steal.
like it's a steal, yeah. I mean,
for one of the best games of the year, easily.
Yeah, you get a minimum 8-hour real good experience.
I felt it was like really well paced as well.
I mean, we could talk about this game. I mean, I think we both could, but there's just so much good shit. Like even the puzzles. Like there's that one area where it's not a furnace, but I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where you're activating like fire furnaces, which makes pistons move up and down.
Oh, yes.
And it goes in time with the music.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. In that same area, the platforms that you have to hit for them to move, and it's like a bull. I thought that was really cool design touch. There's some interesting biomes here, just visually, and all very distinct from one another. Yeah, they look real good. I have to ask though, which was the hardest boss did you find?
The one I spent the most time on. It's difficult to say because, like I said, this isn't Dark Souls difficult, so I didn't spend too long on each boss. The one I fought the most, you know which one I fought the most for meme reasons. I fought the third boss, the beast on top of the mountain, with the umbrella.
Oh my god. It must have taken forever.
It took a few attempts. It was a good time. That roll,
that
man,
was my
that
hardest
roll threw
boss.
me.
Yeah. That was the hardest. At one point I was like, am I like not meant to be here? Am I meant to have something better? Because it feels like I'm really not making a dent on this guy. Yeah, that boss is hard, and the arena that you fight him in is so small.
That's
so
teeny tiny, yeah.
Yeah, your movements have to be so like exact. I thought the final boss was not super difficult, but so good.
Really
just like
good,
so
yeah.
clever. Yeah.
Just in terms of combining actual fight with just cinematic goodness. Well, you know, cinematic in the sense that you are running through puzzles and stuff. It's yeah.
And
real inventive.
And then also the fight behind quote unquote Death's Door.
Yes. Oh my god. I actually felt so bad. I was like, what the shit?
But just such a good fight. Like
visually,
really, really
that
good,
stark contrast of white and black was amazing.
Real good, yeah. I love that every time you get to a chest or there's like a cutscene where you're not in control of your character, you look at your crow and the crow is doing the thing that all good birds do, just like moving its head very quickly. Like it's so funny. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. So Death's Door, play that game.
Really good game.
Time.
Very, very good game. I still do want to go back and play Titan Souls now, which is Acid Nerve's first game.
The other game. Okay. So yeah, we also played some good Trackmania, which you actually joined us for this week.
Had a fantastic time. It was really good.
So I mean, I've spoken about Trackmania a fair bit already, but just to repeat myself, the matchmaking is like hands down one of the best additions they've added to this game. Just to recap quickly, like Trackmania, free to play game on Epic, you basically can play through 25 free tracks that release every 3 months, you know, as seasons. There's an arcade mode which just cycles through all 25 and you get 5 minutes per track to just try clock the best time. You can restart, do whatever the hell you want. But matchmaking, it puts you in teams of 3v3, and you just do sprints, I guess, where, you know, your placement at the end of each sprint determines how many points your team gets, and then whichever team gets the most points wins that round. And in the first team to 5 rounds, wins the match. And just that, like just that dynamic shift of like, you can't just reset all the time now. You have to clock a lap. Sometimes, I mean, you know, now, sometimes even just finishing a lap might be enough to beat the other team. Because maybe one of them didn't, maybe one of them, you know, just messed up and they don't have enough time to finish.
Or even just strategically like resetting at a checkpoint, like knowing when to give up on that segment and just restart.
Restart it. And I've put more time into this season than I have in any other Trackmania season, and it's 100% because of, well, look, the tracks themselves are really good this season, but the matchmaking really itself is just, it's addictive. It's
like you were 100% right in, you know, previous weeks speaking about this, you know, we really engulfed or inhaled the first season of this when it first came out, because I think the tracks were like at their strongest there. And this season feels like on par with that. The tracks are a good mix of short and long stints and approachable, but very, very small tricks to master it. So I think it's really good. Yeah. Because some of the ones that came out in seasons after, that just felt punishing. Like it was like very hard to even complete.
They leaned too hard into maybe what veterans enjoy, which then locked out players like you and me, because like I enjoy playing Trackmania, but I'm not a veteran driver. Like if you play this game day in and day out, you know exactly how to control the cars and how to read tracks and, you know, pull some of the more complicated things off. But you, like you said, I can tell you off the top of my head, there's maybe 2 or 3 tracks where I'm like, they're very difficult to get into, but once you learn them, they actually become a lot of fun. In fact, some of the tracks you played, we were like, I had the exact same reaction you did, where you're like, this is a very difficult track. I'm like, yeah, I thought that at first, but after playing it a few times,
by
it's
the
actually
end of the
really
5
smart.
minutes, it's and like there were a handful of tracks where it was like, okay, well, I can take the route that the track wants me to take, or I I can try this like weird shortcut thing that a lot of other players are doing. So, if you're just playing to try and complete the tracks, you can 100% do it. And that's, previous seasons, I felt that's where they leaned too hard into like, we're going to make it hard to even finish a lap. This is like, no, you can finish a lap. But when you finish a lap and see players are getting 5 seconds faster than you, it's like, well, where do I find the time?
Where do you save that? Yeah.
And that's where I find Trackmania is its most like interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even so I'm playing with Chilo and Brad. We're playing a bunch of matchmaking, and every time we play, it's a thing of like, I figured out this thing, or I've seen a video on like how the best time the person does this. You're like, oh damn, that's clever.
Like you guys are talking a lot about the bouncing on the water, like side to side on the one.
Yeah, which
gives
is
you some speed.
Just because on one map somebody overtook me, I was like, but how? They were like bouncing at an angle, and that's turns out that's an actual strategy. There's another track where you basically ramp into the air and you land and you finish, but then Brad was saying like, no, there's actually a low hanging wall or ceiling on one part of the ramp, and you've seen that. If you want to get the best time, you actually have to like hit the ceiling and come down so that you get the traction back immediately. It's like a lot of these tracks have these little subtle things that when you figure them out, you're like, oh, of course, that's how I go fast, or that's how I get through. That's where I save this 1 or 5 seconds, like depending how far along you are.
I think my favorite were those tracks where you have to take an angle at a certain you have to take a turn at a certain angle. And it ramps
for the hairpin turn.
Yeah, or no, not the hairpin turn. The one where it's like you can go like left and right around this like snaky part of the track, or if you hit this corner at the right angle, you ramp over that snake part. Yeah. And when you hit that, when you can start hitting that consistently, it feels so.
It feels
good.
Good. Yeah.
That hairpin one's another example of like where you can make that hairpin turn, no problem. But if you want to make that hairpin turn, there's some like deep Trackmania knowledge you need to know of.
Yeah, like ramp at an angle so that you land and your car is ready turning. It's good. Like I'm really enjoying this season. Yeah, and I'll be curious to see what they do next, because I feel that the first ever set of tracks was like, hey, this is Trackmania. Here's some accessible tracks, and then the seasons that followed just felt like unnecessarily difficult. Like maybe they were trying to cater to veterans. It feels like they were. Whereas
it feels like the sort of tracks other players would design online to be like almost like a Kaizu Mario game.
Exactly.
Like it's fucking with you just for the sake of it.
Whereas now these tracks feel like they are 100. They've reined it in. It's way easier to get into.
I like the theming of it as well. Very summery with lots of water and stuff. It looks really good. So yeah, I am keen to play more of that because I had a hell of a great time. It was a lot of fun.
And we will.
I will say, Cello, a lot better than me this week, but I'm coming. I mean, he's had so many more hours.
He had an unfair advantage. We've played like hours and hours of these tracks. So, and you know what? To your credit, you still beat us in some of the tracks.
Yeah, 1 or 2. Those are the tracks that Cello said you were sending voice notes, but we all have our excuses.
Whatever. I wasn't sending voice notes and you beat me. So good on you. Yeah, that's it.
Should we bounce to game releases? I should probably open that.
Games
link.
Out this week. Need a little timestamp here. Good Lord, we've gone over. I think this is the longest we've probably spoken about games.
It's fun. We'll fly through the rest. We're looking at August. Can you believe? So we're looking at games from today, the 31st of July, up until the 6th of August. So we have...
So July's done. Nothing else today.
July done. Okay, so just quickly, we have Grime coming to PC and Stadia August 2nd. The Ramp. If that's not a skateboarding thing, I'll be very disappointed. Coming to PC August 3rd. Hunter's Arena Legends coming to PC, PS4, and PS5 August 3rd. I think this is also...
That's the
PS5, PS Plus game, yeah. I actually have no idea what this game is
Even
about.
Me.
But yeah. In Sound Mind, PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch, August 3rd. Dodgeball Academia.
Duck, dodge, dive.
Dodge, duck again. 5D's a dodgeball.
Nice.
PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. My Friend Pedro, Ripe for Revenge. So this is the My Friend
Banana.
Pedro spin-off for mobile. Yeah. Coming to iOS and Android on August 5th. And The Falconeer. This was a game that launched with the Xbox Series X, but this is its release on PS5, PS4, and Switch.
Nice.
That's your games for this week.
Damn.
There's a lot of games this month, and most of them are in the like final 2 weeks of the month.
Well, Kenna Bridge of Spirits in news, I guess, delayed a whole month.
Yeah, delayed a whole month to the end of September, I think it was. 21st of September.
25th. It's just delayed a month, yeah.
That has made the end of September wild. I think in the same week, we've got Kenna, we've got Sable, that other really good indie-looking game, Death Stranding Director's Cut.
Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Yeah, Diablo 2.
Last Judgment. Last
and
Judgment,
the week before is Deathloop. So
my goodness, all these Tales of Arise, interesting. All these games coming out.
Real good shit.
Okay, shall we bounce to?
Wow, Lost Judgment is out next month already. Holy crap!
Yeah, I had no idea.
Feels like the game was just announced.
Feels like it was, right?
I swear it was. Yeah. Wow. Gaming news. Do you want to take a first one?
Shall we? What should we headline with here? Shall we start with the good Annapurna interactive showcase?
Let's do that. Probably one of the best showcases of the summer.
Gonna come out and say Annapurna, best indie publisher with some real good looking games coming out.
Annapurna and Devolver are just like not missing.
Yeah,
seriously.
Annapurna already does, like they've done a shit ton of great indie games, but this showcase is just like, wow, there's a lot of good stuff coming out.
It's good to note that them, just like Devolver, they find good indie teams and then help them through, publishing and marketing and stuff. So they don't develop the games internally, but they find interesting projects, and just the variety on show during the showcase was just really impressive. So yeah.
Should we just
Artful Escape? Yeah. Artful Escape is one of those games that was revealed on Microsoft's stage at E3, like, I don't know, it feels like 3 or 4 years ago now, that everyone was like, whoa, what the fuck was that? That was cool. Sort of like a Cuphead where they showed in a sizzle reel, and then everyone's like, whoa, hold on.
Come back.
Just come back to that, please.
What is this? Yeah.
And it's been away for a long time. So the fact that it's coming out on September 9th, I am super stoked for this. It's got like such a cool art style, such a weird vibe to it. It looks awesome. Like, what is it? I don't know. Looks like a musical game, but I can't tell you what it is. Is it a platformer?
Look at this.
Is it a
I feel like I've taken
LSD
drugs.
trip? Yeah, definitely does look like an LSD trip. It's so good. So yeah, I'm happy that it's finally coming out and happy that it's soon.
Yeah, I didn't realize it's September 9th. I mean, that's like
and coming to Game Pass. So that's
my
cool.
goodness. Neon White.
Man, this game. So this game is developed by the same man behind Donut County, Ben Esposito.
Oh my god!
And it could not be a more different game if it tried. It's like a fast-paced deck builder FPS.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Some Donut County shenanigans, and we fast forward to this, which is like a completely different game.
Yeah, it's like an FPS. It's fast-paced, but you're picking up cards as you go, so it's like very, very quick. And it's just got this real anime, cel-shaded look. It's gorgeous. Like
it looks like a lot of fun.
Like all these concepts working in tandem at once. It's a real interesting concept, and yeah, I'm keen. Someone described it as super hot, but you're on drugs. So I can see that.
I can see that. 100% see that. It's also got looks like some good platforming, which I'm quite keen for. This
very, very curious to play. So that's coming out Switch and PC this winter. So later this year, I assume.
Nice.
This game on Switch will be hot, I think.
Oh my god. What is this? Outer Loop Games. This is just a studio thing.
Let me see what this is. So Outer Loop Games. It's partnering with several developers on the next project. The first of these is Outerloop Games, the studio behind Falcon Age.
Next
The
game
next
is
project
a
looks to be a
skateboarding game.
skateboarding game with a narrative that explores immigrant culture and features parkour movement mechanics. Interesting.
Nice.
Okay. A Memoir Blue reveal trailer. It's an interactive story that uses a mixture of music, 3D animation, 2D art to tell a story about memory and motherhood. Everyone says this game looks very sad, and I agree. It's going to make me cry.
It's going to make you cry just a few tears. Wah.
Another beautiful game. Look at that.
Yeah, but it just feels like all the games we've seen, they just so distinct. They're different. Like I don't even know what to compare this to.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's pretty.
Oh, there we go. Another partnership for Annapurna. They are partnering up with Jessica Mack, who is working on an unannounced music-based adventure game. If you're unfamiliar with her work, she worked on Everyday Shooter and, most importantly, Sound Shape, which is a great music and rhythm game. So
nice.
Yeah. Then Storyteller. Publisher announced Storyteller, an upcoming game where you progress by telling stories. Trailer showcases how you're given a prompt and need to rearrange the characters in the story to fulfill it and move to the next page. Interesting.
That sounds cool. So sounds like a bit of a puzzle game.
It reminds me almost of there was that game a while back. Oh, what was it called? Hideo Kojima really liked it. But it was basically like every like page had a number of like comic panels, and you had to rearrange the comic panels so that it told a story for you to progress. So like if you rearrange the comic panels and it had your character move into the next panel and in front of an enemy, then it would be like, okay, well, you died, so rearrange it.
Yeah.
It was like a puzzle game. I can't remember what it was called for the life of me. But yeah, it looks similar to that, and that's cool.
So I wasn't laughing at your explanation. I was laughing at what's happening on screen, where I'm just watching the trailer now of how they so for audio listeners, it's basically a page with different frames, almost like a cartoon strip, and you have buttons at the bottom which represent like characters and I suppose themes like love and death, and you literally just dragging these into frame to like you've said, arrange the story. But so in this example, it has to be a story of tragedy. So in the last frame, they've put the tombstone of a character who this other one doesn't know clearly. Instead of like, what?
I love the little like, wait, why am I at
like,
this
what?
tombstone?
Yeah, it's frame 1, girl. Frame 2, man falls in love with girl. Frame 3, man at tombstone of other random guy. Like, what? That looks cool. I'd be keen to check that out.
I don't think there's a release date for that, but it's coming to PC and
just
Switch.
Says it's coming on Switch and PC. Solar Ash. This is one we've seen a fair bit of now.
This game, yeah. So this is developed by the folks at Heart Machine, who developed Hyperlight Drifter before this.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a 3D action adventure game that looks like it's just got like crazy good movement. It almost looks like you're on skis. So yeah, I mean, if you're watching the trailer on the video version of this podcast, it's just like loads of fast movement, moving around.
The person's like skating.
Worlds. Yeah, it almost looks like skating. It's gorgeous. It's got this real, like, I don't know what to call it. It's just a strange color palette. It's very, very cool. I'm very keen on this game.
Let me tell you.
And it's out soon, October 26th on PS5, PS4, and PC.
On skating quickly, what they don't tell you about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is that it's got some real good skating.
Oh yes, yeah. And
just
in
terms
one
of
big
movements, I love the boost. How you have to like get your momentum right with the
you got to like
triggers.
click it. Yeah,
it's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah. Okay. Ivy Road.
Next one. Yeah, it's
partnership.
Annapurna announced a partnership with a studio called Ivy Road, a brand new studio. Brand new studio founded by Davey Reedon, the creator and designer of The Beginner's Guide and Stanley Parable. Oh my God. Carla Zimonja, director of Gone Home and writer for Life is Strange 2.
I mean,
wow. I didn't realize Carla had left Fulbright.
Yeah,
so that's a surprise to me.
But I mean, what a team.
That's a power duo. My goodness.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, keen to see what Ivy Road develops then. Skin Deep. This is another cat game where you play as an insurance agent responsible for defending a cat-filled spaceship from attacking pirates. Oh, I've seen this. It's like a roguelike. Yeah, I have definitely seen this before. It's got a really cool art style as well.
Amazing. It's like a first-person something.
Yeah. So it's almost like a roguelike, but you're defending the ship is full of cats, and you're defending them from pirates. I distinctly remember seeing this.
You're smelly. I have no idea what's going on.
You just ejected yourself out of the airlock. Wow.
Amazing.
The other cat-related announcement was Stray. So
I'm gonna go ahead and make this full screen for the. Oh my god, I'm getting served cat ads now. Heels.
Yeah, Stray was first revealed during the PlayStation reveal, I think, last year. It was part of the PS5 thing.
We got like a mood teaser for this game, right? It was this is a cat
full-on gameplay walkthrough, yeah.
In like a futuristic world with robot people. And that was even just looking at it then like, wow, what an interesting setting. What does this game actually look like? And then we get some gameplay, and let me tell you, this is it's weird because it's not really like, it's not necessarily lifelike in the terms of like photorealism, but holy hell, this is a gorgeous game.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
My
absolutely
goodness.
Gorgeous. Really just beautiful mood and artwork, and yeah. I mean, look at those neon sides. Looks so good. Well, I think what I like most about this is that, you know, it seems like it's a puzzle and exploration game first and foremost.
Yeah.
But when you're jumping, like we're seeing in the trailer now, like it's prompts, and that makes I think the animation for the cat like much smoother. I think if it was like a platformer and you're just spamming X and seeing this cat jump up and down, it would look so strange.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my first thought was like, it's a cat. So of course the cat can jump high.
Cat. This is what Lupin gets up to at night.
Oh my goodness. He goes and he plays Stray. Yeah, but I mean, we didn't know what the game is about necessarily, but we've got a taster now, and man, I cannot wait for this game. It looks like such a good time.
Look how gorgeous this game looks. I mean, just really something else.
Yeah.
And now the cat's got like a robot backpack, so that's cool.
I think it was it's out next year sometime.
Yeah, it got delayed out of 2021. It's coming early 2022. And it will launch on PC, PS5, and PS4.
Yeah, I cannot wait. It just
this looks really good.
Too good.
If they kill the cats at the end, I'm going to throw this game in the fire.
Don't say that.
The final studio partnership revealed was a partnership with No Code, the studio behind Observation. The next project will apparently be their biggest to date.
It's a brass.
Cool.
And then you must be excited for this one.
Yes, the final announcement. It was teased earlier this year, but finally got confirmation that Outer Wilds, probably one of my favorite games of all time as well, is getting its first and only expansion called Echoes of the Eye. No idea what it's about because the trailer is cryptic as hell.
Yeah.
But it is coming out on September 28th, so that's real soon as well.
That's super soon, yeah.
Very, very nice. So this is a game you should play as well.
I know, I need to play it. I will get to it. But yeah, otherwise, I'd say a very strong showing from Annapurna. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
Just leading the way. Well, not leading the way, but one of the leaders in, just indie games. Putting them in the spotlight, and like really good indie games at that. I know they have a real knack for identifying.
Incredibly strong, yeah.
Yeah. What would you like to talk about next?
So PS5 storage.
Actual doo-doo water.
Yeah, so there is a beta firmware out now that allows you to finally make use of that little slot, which you may not even know existed on your PS5, that lets you expand internal storage using a consumer SSD. So this is different to Xbox that develops their own, well, in partnership with Seagate, their own like little expansion card, which I've used now on the Series X. It's super simple. There's a slot in the back. You put in the card. The Xbox is like, hey, pick that shit up. I can install games and play them from there now. Like seamless.
Well, there was a tweet going around. Who was it? I'm going to get the name wrong. Is
Tom Warren from
it is
Verge?
Tom Warren. Okay,
Yeah.
Who literally did a video of like, here's how to do the Xbox, slots the card in. Here's how to do the PlayStation, and it's like hard cut to a toolbox.
Well, I mean, this is essentially it. So we always knew, that Sony was going a different route. They were like, we will let you use consumer SSDs that meet our spec for internal storage. Now, so there's a couple of things that make that a bit more challenging. So firstly, the SSD that you needs to be actually slightly faster than what is internally in the PS5 because the PlayStation needs to make provisions for, the compatibility. Interfacing with this hard drive that it doesn't know its architecture, fully. So the second problem that presents is that the custom SSD that's inside the PlayStation 5 is incredibly fast, faster than the Xbox Series X, and at the time when it launched, faster than most commercial ones. So now the requirement to find a faster one is, firstly, it omits a lot of drives from compatibility straight out the gate.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, the drives that you do find are incredibly expensive. So when Microsoft first announced their expansion card at $220 for a terabyte, everyone was like, "Whoa, that's like half the price of the console. It's so expensive." Let me tell you, the cheapest one you can find for PS5 is that price, and that's the cheapest one you can find.
Yeah,
and that might not even work because right now, because this firmware is in beta, Sony doesn't have an approved list of SSDs. They have a full spec sheet down to your length, width, and breadth of the SSD, whether it has a heatsink or not, because they need a heatsink. So you need to actually measure the heatsink and make sure it fits. It needs to have a certain speed rating. It needs to interface over a certain. It has to interface over a certain number of lanes. So this is like seriously like fucking, this is beyond even building your own PC knowledge because you can very easily buy a $200+ terabyte hard drive and this thing just straight up doesn't work. And then on top of it, Sony says that even drives that meet all of these specifications might not work for unforeseen reasons and that they take no responsibility for that.
Yeah.
So they are seriously passing the buck to the consumer here and being like, try your luck, homies, because we don't know, especially during this beta period. And I personally think, people are downplaying it. They're like, oh, what's so hard about taking out 2 screws and putting this thing in? That's not the point. The point is, like, firstly, how many people even know this port exists? Because you have to take off a side panel of your console to put this thing in. So firstly, I can already tell you off the top of my head a bunch of people I know who will not do that. And then expecting most people to understand all these parameters. A lot of people are they're going to go into Amazon or they're going to go into Takealot or whatever and be like, cool,
PS5 SSD.
NVMe SSD or Gen 4 NVMe SSD. And I tell you now, there's going to be a lot of product descriptions that say compatible with PS5. That's not going to be, because there's a lot of that for cables. Like I've bought so many cables for Oculus Rift forever that is like, yeah, this supports Oculus Link, and it doesn't. Like, it straight up doesn't. Yeah. So this is a fucking minefield. And until Sony puts out their own approved list, I do not recommend anyone buy any SSDs for this thing. I think it's too weird right now.
It's going to open up this, I mean, not even a niche, but there's going to be a huge demand now for reviews and videos on which hard drives have been tested and worked on. Like, even if Sony comes out with an approved list, like, that's cool. But until then, you are going to go to, like, say, a tech channel and be like, well, what do they say? They've actually tested it, because the package says it's compatible, but does it actually work? And even like you've pointed out, Sony said, well, that could be compatible, but it still might not work for unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah. Like, they literally say in this thing, like, even if your SSD checks all these boxes, it may not work. And then on top of it, they say it may not work at the speed that you're expecting. So because these things aren't, Microsoft and Seagate developed a drive that Microsoft knows when it connects, it connects in this way, it interfaces with the internal storage in this way. They know exactly how to control that entire pipeline. With Sony, already you're being told, get a faster one because you might end up losing speed just in the way that the console and this thing talk to each other. And then on top of it, you might have instances where games end up loading slower. So how does that then work? And this is said on their page. You might not get the same performance as the internal drive, even though you're able to play games off of this thing. So then how does that work with games where developers are now going, well, we expect this speed from the internal drive, but if they're playing it off this supported, expansion drive, we have to facilitate that,
Yeah.
So it takes the sting out of the PlayStation has a faster SSD, so games can be developed in a way that they can't be on Xbox, because now you have this completely unforeseen component in there that has to be catered for.
Exactly.
Listen, this is the problem on PC. You have so many different configurations that games don't work the way they expect to. I do not understand why Sony went this route. Like, I get it. Proprietary storage sucks. Like, it really does. But when you're talking about, developing games that have to meet a certain spec, a certain SSD speed, there's no way around that. Otherwise, you end up with this situation which is more PC-like than console. And I bet you a lot of people are not going to even bother with this.
No. I can tell you now, I wouldn't. I know my PlayStation's got 800 gigs, whatever. I'll just uninstall stuff. I'd rather do that than have the convenience of just adding another drive.
I wouldn't be shocked that if we will get some mid-gen refresh of these consoles. I'm almost certain. And I wouldn't be shocked if Microsoft comes out with a controller that has adaptive triggers, and Sony comes out with a way to a proprietary storage. Hey, you can still use consumer chips, but we added this port on the back for an SSD we make. I guarantee you that's going to happen.
Put money on it.
No, yeah.
Well, if you are listening, UFD Tech, we need videos on on you testing out these
Brett,
chips and PS5s, please.
We need a whole breakdown of which SSDs work and which don't, and different loading times on all of them. We will link you. I will pay you nothing because I have no money, but I'll give you a hug if you ever visit again.
Amazing. Deal of a lifetime.
I mean, my hugs are world renowned.
Oh, wow. Not in COVID, they're not.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Your hugs are worthless in this pandemic.
I'll give you a high five.
Oh my God.
And then sanitizer afterwards.
In a complete pivot, we go to Sonic is now a doctor and a psychiatrist thanks to...
Oh my God, please walk me through this because you've actually played 2 Point Hospital. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I haven't played 2 Point Hospital for actual years, but I mean, 2 Point Hospital, right? It's a fake hospital simulator where you get to build a hospital that cures made up diseases and issues.
Sorry to interrupt real quick, but in this GIF, is that Sonic being a psychiatrist to Freddie Mercury?
Probably.
I mean, that dude looks like Freddie Mercury on the couch.
That's one of the elements in the game.
Ridiculous.
So
wait, is the ailment Freddie Mercury disease?
I don't know what it's called, but it's people who think they're Freddie Mercury. Trust me, this game is worth
amazing.
playing. You should 100% play it. But I guess this is an update or a DLC or something. But it introduces Sonic and a whole cast of characters from Sonic games as staff in 2 Point Hospital. So, like we've mentioned in this GIF, we've got Sonic who's sitting on the psychiatrist chair solving this Freddie Mercury ailment. So, yeah, we've got Knuckles. I mean, not Knuckles, Tails in reception. We've got Knuckles actually sweeping up the floor there as a janitor. So,
yes, the real respect Sega has for Knuckles.
It's so good. I love that this exists.
I love the decorations. I mean, you've got the golden rings like there. You've got Sega machines.
We've got some sunflowers from the game as well.
This is so absurd. I
Amazing.
love it.
I love
how absurd this is. It's fantastic. Apparently it's free. So
yeah, it's a free DLC. Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
At least you'll get the speediest service.
Will you? Will you get the faster service? The Playdate, which is a console you could probably tell me more about. But if you don't know, the Playdate it basically looks like a modern day Game Boy, except it's got a crank. I
mean, if that confuses you, then you should look at the Playdate pitch video, because it is a fantastic video that kind of really makes a good case for this little console.
It's, for all intents and purposes, though, it is a modern day retro console. Which looks real nice. I love the design. I love the way it looks. I love the color. I love that it's yellow. It's really nice. I guess we'll see what the games look like though when when it actually launches.
So you say it's a retro console, but it's not like it doesn't play Nintendo games.
Oh no, sorry. It's like what I mean is it's just a modern day retro console with its own, retro designed games in it, I guess.
When I say retro,
when I say retro, I mean like the fact that the games are literally black and white. I suppose somewhat simplistic.
And it's when you buy it, you don't know what games actually come with it. It's going to have a season of games. So that season is going to last 12 weeks, and every week you get 2 games. And a lot of them are from like well-renowned developers. I know there's a South African developer that's worked on one. I don't know who it is because I just see South Africa mentioned on the map of games, and I don't know.
Nice.
If I had to guess, I would guess Free Lives, but I don't know for sure.
Don't actually know.
Lucas Pope, developer of Papers, Please and Obra Dinn, is making a game for Playdate.
This is the console he's been waiting for. I mean, Obra Dinn was like made for this console.
it was the proof of concept for this console.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, when you have names like that, developing for a console where the games are exclusive, that's cool. I get it. It's a little niche thing. It's also expensive. It's like $180 for this thing. So it's cool though. I'm glad that they sold. I mean, it sold initial allocation
20,000 units in 20 minutes. Which
is so they are taking orders for production, so it will never sell out. It just means that if you buy it now, you might only get it next year as opposed to release later this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ordered one. I'm very keen to give it a go.
Nice. We'll get your full review. This is the headline of the week, I'd say. Dr. Mario World mobile game. Oh, sorry. Nintendo gives Dr. Mario mobile game just 3 months to live. I mean, rip Mario.
Tip of the hat to that headline on Polygon, courtesy of, I can't read it on Discord.
Michael McWhirter?
Michael McWhirter. Yeah, phenomenal headline. Just A+ shit. Great. Right there.
So I've never played Dr. Mario World on mobile, but I know it was met with some criticism, I think.
Yeah, a lot of the same sort of things as a lot of Nintendo games on mobile.
Yeah.
Transactions and payment gateways and stuff like that. So yeah, I've never been a huge Dr. Mario fan. Match 3 stuff just isn't my vibe. So, but yeah, the game will officially shut down on November 1st, rendering the game completely unplayable. Nintendo has already ended purchases of the Dr. Mario World's in-game currency. Players will be able to review their history with the game. A web page will launch after Dr. Mario World is terminated. That sucks if you really invested in this game. Especially since it only launched in 2019, so it's not like it's super old.
Too old, yeah.
But yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
And last piece of news this week, which touches on the awful news we mentioned last week, the lawsuit against Activision Blizzard. But I mean, in a positive spin, Activision Blizzard employees to walk out in support of harassment lawsuits. I mean, that's the headline. They did do a walkout to support the harassment lawsuits. And I mean, the whole week there's been snippets and different stories and new allegations, and it's like what a shit show Activision Blizzard is going through. But I'm glad it's being brought to light, and yeah, good on the employees for, because we touched on I suppose the statement that Activision put out last week, and like I think you mentioned, very defensive, very much like skirting a lot of the issues, and the employees were like, nah, we're not going to stand for that.
Essentially, Bobby Kotick eventually came out and renounced that statement from Activision. Funnily enough, only after the Activision share price dropped like 5% in one day. So yeah, take that as you will. But yeah, 2,600. I'm sure that number is much higher now. Current and former Activision Blizzard employees have signed an open letter in support of the DFEH lawsuit. They have several demands of Activision that apparently have not been met, and Activision is saying that they are not going to discuss this anymore outside of internal, work forum places, and Activision is trying their very best to mediate this all internally as a company would do. I saw earlier this week that they had apparently hired a law firm to handle this, and that law firm was famous for fighting against unionization of Amazon workers. So fucking A+ job there, Activision.
Yep.
But yeah, they just continue to be more and more horror stories coming out of this thing. Like, apparently in 2018 or 2019, there was an employee there who was fired because he installed a camera in the unisex bathrooms. That was, you can just imagine what that was doing. They also had rooms in some Blizzard offices, I think it was. For women who were breastfeeding, and there were no locks on the door, and men just used to barge into there. Like, what the fuck? Like, on it, that's all you can say to that. Like, and then on top of that, you had the big report by Kotaku earlier this week of room that used to be called the Crosby Suite.
Yeah.
Oh, the Crosby Suite. Yeah.
Crosby Suite. Yeah.
A lot of employees at, I think it was 2013 BlizzCon. Posing with a picture of convicted rapist Bill Cosby, fully well aware of what that connotation means, and some real choice messages between employees about bringing younger female employees up to the suite, getting them real drunk, and engaging in sexual harassment with them. Apparently, one of the people in the photo was even an HR representative, so that
which is just
can get real fucked. Yeah. So apparently, the main culprit of that was actually dismissed from the company only in 2020 or 2019 for ongoing harassment. So the fact that he was able to get away with that for years and years and years, basically all the comments we had from like former Blizzard employees, the former leaders of that company, can honestly just go in a bin because they were there at the time of this happening. So they had to have known. There's no way you lead a company and you don't know of things like that. I'm sorry. So in my view, Blizzard and Activision need a real weeding out of pretty much most top executives, because even if they weren't directly involved, they were aware of it. And until you get all of the people that have had the ability to change this or were involved in it out, nothing will change.
Yeah.
So yeah, real disgusting all around. And I'm just glad it's being put out there. And I genuinely hope this lawsuit drills this funky company into the ground and forces change. Because that's the only way it's going to change industry-wide, is if an example is made of someone. So we'll see.
So on that note, that's news for this week. But at least, like you said, it's come to light, and let's just hope that the action actually happens.
Yeah, that's all we can hope for.
Should we
questions?
If
you want to send us questions or want to send them to the show, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also message us on all our social platforms at Checkpoint Chat on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that shit.
All of those places. We have a question from Silverback96, whose Twitter name is Fandom is Awesome, who just asks, Half-Life 3 when? ?
We've already got Half-Life 3. It's called Half-Life Alyx. It was great.
I still need to play that. I mean, I think we've touched on this, indirectly because of Half-Life Alyx, where it's a thing of Half-Life Alyx exists. I think Valve did very well. I mean, I've never played it. You've played it, but for all intents and purposes, from what you've said and from what others have said, like, massively successful game, really good. Valve still have that magic. Could this be a precursor to Half-Life 3? Like, I don't know. I hope so. I'd love to see Half-Life 3.
Yeah. Whether I mean, again, there's a lot I want to say, but I also want you to play Half-Life Alyx, and I don't want to touch on the ending because
I'll get to it.
The ending definitely indicates that Valve is not done with Half-Life, so I'll keep it at that. But yeah, I think we will get a Half-Life or more Half-Life in the future, whether that is a Half-Life 3, I don't know. Whether it is a traditional Half-Life, I don't know either, because I thought Alyx was pretty great. And I acknowledge that, yes, it's only available on a platform which requires a powerful PC and an expensive, VR headset. So it's not as accessible to everyone, but
for sure.
I will say that it is the best VR thing I've played. So I would love them to continue doing weird shit with Half-Life, and if that means more VR, I'm there for it. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, we have some questions from your favorite person, Cello Zella.
Fuck's sake.
He says, question 1, who will be left hungry in Hungary?
Is he asking me who loses now? Like, I'm not sure.
I don't know. That's the question.
Who loses? I don't know.
Who's
Nikita Mazepin, because he's a terrible driver and a shit human being. So,
wow,
definitely him. I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting race because Red Bull and Mercedes are at each other's throats and fighting very openly. So it's, from a drama standpoint, it's real fun. Who's going to win? I don't know. Last time I said Max, and he probably would have if he didn't crash out in the first lap of the race. So I really don't know. I'm just going to enjoy. You know what, Cello? When you give me predictions, I'll give you predictions.
You'll respond. Okay, here we go. Question 2. When do we get a co-op stream of you two playing Cuphead or It Takes Two?
Ooh.
Those are both games I still want to play. Cuphead, man, I'm dying to play this game. And
one of our earliest friendship memories was playing Cuphead at Gamescom.
It was at Gamescom, yeah.
Yeah, it's Gamescom. It was our first trip together. We went to Gamescom.
Oh my God. And I just remember us sitting in a hotel room. It was Gamescom, you're right. We were sitting in a hotel room doing a video, just commentating over Cuphead, which went on to be, I mean, at the time, one of the bigger Lazy Gamer hits in terms of video views. It got a ton of views, which was
It was fun.
Cool.
And we very quickly realized that Matthew has much better gaming skills than me.
Oh my God.
I kept dying constantly.
We gave that video the best name because I think we fought a carrot boss. It is like
a giant carrot, yeah.
It's like a giant carrot beats us and we enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's so good.
10 out of 10.
I love that event. It was like in the basement of some like auditorium, and it felt very like dungeony. And then they had currywurst and Cuphead, and I was just eating loads of spicy sausages and playing Cuphead. It was a good time.
This is not a question, but just a comment. He says, Cello says, I just want to thank Sandy for showing up on Tuesday and losing to me as expected. It was brave of you.
Wow. This guy. I give him a compliment early in the show, and he comes at me with that shit.
Comes at you.
You know, he says this, but he was consistently losing to Brad, and Brad was actually giving me tips.
Brad is like
we all know who's the better human being.
Yeah, Brad is real helpful that game. He's like, listen, let me give you a tip.
I mean, he was real helpful because he wanted everyone to be Cello, but that just shows you that no one likes Cello.
He's got his priorities straight, so yeah. And then the last question. Here's a big question, and it could even be the picture of your podcast this week. Would you rather fight a chicken to the death every time you get into a car, or fight an orangutan to the death once a year, but you get a sword?
So the first one sounds like something from Legend of Zelda, and the second one sounds like a Sekiro boss.
I mean, I'm going to come out and say that if you're fighting an orangutan, you're going to die. Sorry. Orangutan.
Even with a sword?
Even if, our primate distant cousins, the evolutionary pool. Would you fight a gorilla, for example?
If I had a sword, I listen. If I didn't have a sword, I would die. No two questions. With a sword, maybe I have a 20% chance of winning that fight.
I don't even know if you have a 20% chance. Because think of how, I mean, look, orangutans are big, but orangutans
are really big.
They are still like real dexterous. Okay, they're going to swing up. Here's what I'll say. Are there trees in this arena? Because if there are trees, I'm dead.
That's also true. Because you'll just get swung above and like fucking
exactly. If
like
it's coming
elbow
straight
dropped
at
from
me
the top.
in an open gladiator arena, like maybe I have a chance. I just keep pointing my sword out and it'll know like, oh, danger. But if there's trees above me, I'm dead. This thing's going to swing from branch to branch. I'm not going to be able to keep up. In which case, I'll take the chicken. Even if it means I've got to climb into a car, I'll survive. I'll definitely beat a chicken.
I don't know about that. Hey, okay, so I get what you're saying about the orangutan. I guess even with the sword, even if you get 1 or 2 nicks in it, he will still just hit you once on the head and you'll be down like that. And you would have lost grip of the sword, and that is it. Game over.
Let me just Google you. How strong is an
just Google the weight of an orangutan. I'm pretty sure like one hit with that fist is just going to fucking end you.
People also ask, can a human beat an orangutan? Okay, let's see here. Hang on. This is on Quora, of course. Can a human beat an orangutan in single combat? What the hell? Okay, this is a top answer. Yes, if the human can choose the venue, I recommend Chinese checkers or poker. If it is a contest of strength between 2 adults in their prime, as soon as the orangutan figures out he's in a fight, the human loses.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, is there anything there about having a sword?
It is worth noting that orangutans are an endangered species, and it would be both illegal in the US and wrong to even try to... we're actually going to do this.
So even if you win, you're going to jail, is what they're saying.
So yeah, this answer from Bob Kinch, former Army winter warfare instructor for 35 years.
Okay, he knows his shit. Okay, I want to hear what Bob has to say.
Sure, otherwise they'd rule the world. We were winning long before gunpowder. It says, here's what you have to do. Get a weapon. Big weapons like spears or missile weapons like bows or slings.
Jesus, okay, you went from 0 to 100 there. Wow.
But I'd rather be an expert with a rock than a rookie with a spear. So number 2, get good at it. Number 3, you'll have to have the will to win. That comes from practice and confidence with your weapon. Miss any of those factors and you're toast. This dude's serious. Okay, he's thought this out.
He's advising a rocket launcher to take out this orangutan. Thing is, with the rocket launcher, you have one shot. If you miss, that orangutan's coming for you. It knows you mean business.
And then just the last one. There's a whole. My goodness. In reality, yes, but the person has to have serious martial arts skills, strength, and power.
So what you're saying is they need to be Bruce
For
Lee.
example, Okiniwan, Goju, Ryu, Grandmaster Mars, Oyuma killed a charging bull with 1 punch. Don't know who that is.
Holy shit. That's
in
crazy.
In the Bible, David, same one who killed Goliath, mind you, who was a shepherd and warrior, killed a lion and a bear with his bare hands. Damn.
Okay, but we're talking about real life, not fiction here.
So yes, it's possible, but very rare today, as 99.99% of people in the world would be easily killed or destroyed by these animals in a physical fight without weapons. Nothing about a sword. Okay, I tried.
Okay, but I mean, so Bob, Army veteran Bob, suggested firearms, which definitely aren't the same. He did mention a spear, and he said a spear would be hard. So
he said he'd rather be a professional with a rock than an amateur with a spear. So,
and I mean, if you're talking about both of us, we are definitely amateurs with a spear, and a spear even has more reach than a sword. So I'd say you don't have to let the orangutan get really close. So
yeah,
I think the spear is actually a better weapon. So yeah, but listen, we're not giving enough time to this chicken thing. Think about it. You're talking every day. So firstly, that's just really tiring. Maybe not in lockdown because you're not driving all the time, but like imagine you just going to the shops. You just want to go buy a Coke and some chips, man. And now you got to fight this fucking chicken in your car to even go and do that. But then you want to grab some McDonald's. You got to fight a chicken. You know,
this is true. It gets exhausting.
And then it will even get mad because you want some chicken nuggies from McDonald's, and it's like, oh, you eating me now? Let's fucking go.
Oh, shit. Yeah, but then you just wring its neck.
Listen, I have chickens at home. They are fast. They are scary. When they fly at you, they are big, and they fly at your face and they want to peck your eyes. I mean,
you're dead.
I'm not saying you can easily just grab that neck and go. But if you're doing it every single day, the odds are stacked against you. One day you are going to lose an eye.
My goodness, that's true.
300,
I've got my eye
360
protectors here.
364 days of the year, you can kill that chicken, but it just needs one day to blind you.
My goodness.
And then,
so what you're telling me is that
once you blind, that chicken is, you're done. You're not driving anymore. That chicken's won. You might as well sell your car to it.
But then if you fight the orangutan, you die anyway, so...
At least it's a quick death. At least it's once off.
That's true, yeah. It's a quick death. I'm changing my answer to orangutan once a year with a sword.
I think so. I mean, just think of the chicken attacks Link has to deal with in Legend of Zelda. Now imagine that every day as soon as you get in your car. You get in a car and it's just feathers. You know? You get in your car.
We're not even talking about the mess in your car.
Yeah, and chickens poop like crazy.
I guess we're fighting the orangutan. Cool, man.
Yeah, I'll fight the orangutan.
I will move to the US where it's illegal, so I can't fight the orangutan.
Pro strats.
Bam. There we go. There's my loophole.
Also, there it will be really easy to get a gun. So
this is true. But yeah, thanks for the question, Cello. And yeah, that's all of them though. We have no more this week.
Thank you. If you want to send us good questions like Cello regarding Formula 1 and fighting orangutans.
Oh, man.
You can email us, checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also message us on all our social platforms at checkpointchat on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Anyway, message us whenever, whatever nonsense you have in your mind. Tell us how many chicken nuggets you ate today or how many chickens you fought.
My goodness.
Did you make your own chicken nuggets? Have you tried the spicy chicken nuggets from McDonald's yet?
I have not. Are they good?
They are good.
Guess
get the spicy chicken nuggets with some jalapeno dipping sauce.
Some good. Chicken nuggies. I'm ready.
KFC also has zinger nuggets now.
I still have not tried those. Are they good?
Pretty good.
Some chicken nuggies. I guess I'm going to have to make a plan. But yeah, that is the episode 154.
That is episode 154.
Just shy of that 2-hour mark again. We're getting really long in the tooth here, but we took a lot of drinks in today's episode. You had some shots. We had a few swigs of Dead Store and Trackmania. It was a good time.
Yeah, pretty hammered right now on video games.
Oof. What are you going to go drink later today?
I'm going to continue playing some Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah, I started a campaign of that with my cousin. So we're playing like every weekend. We play like 2 or 3 hours of that.
Nice.
Really fun.
It's like an actual D&D campaign then.
Essentially, yeah. Really cool. Essentially, yeah. And then probably just some more Symphony of the Night.
Nice.
What are you going to be up to?
I'm probably just going to do some flights, I guess. Try some flights. Go visit some
transatlantic flight.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Visit all. We've got to do all the usual thing. Number one, fly over where you live. You have to see.
Absolutely.
Fly over where you live. Number two, fly over. Popular relative locations. I'm gonna visit my brother, my mom, my sister, and then like all the destinations we've been to. I want to fly to Madeira. I want to go visit some Cape Town. There's a lot of places.
I want you to try land at the Madeira airport.
Oh, I'll just get black screens. It'll be like, no.
That airport is wild. It's so crazy.
You did not remember to throw the anchor out the window.
Listen, if there's no clapping track after you've landed, what is this game even?
It's a fake game.
It'll be cool though in Madeira because you could probably like take a small plane and fly past like the place where you got married because it's quite close to the sea and quite high.
Yeah.
You can fly past the Cristiano Ronaldo Museum. You must fly past Table Mountain. It's real cool. It looks really cool.
It's not flat. They're loud. I've seen that mountain from above. It's not flat.
It's real cool to like fly over a city that you know quite like intimately and be like, it looks awesome. Like it's very, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to fly over all those places.
Did you know there was an airport on Robben Island?
I have a vague recollection of that.
Yeah, you can take off from Robben Island. It's just called Cape Town Airport, not Cape Town International, and it's on Robben Island.
Amazing.
It's real strange. Yeah.
Nice. I'll take off from there. But yeah, that's all I've got planned really. I'm off this coming week. I need to decide what I really want to sink my teeth into because I'll have time to play some stuff.
Outer Wilds.
Maybe. How long is it?
You can finish it in like 15 hours.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to say because it's all dependent on
how
like your puzzle solving.
So
yeah, I don't actually know if it's on Game Pass anymore.
It's off Game Pass.
Oh, did it get removed? Bummer.
It's removed. It's fine.
But it's on the Epic Games Store. I think it's pretty cheap there.
Let's see, Outer Wilds. I'll save 40% on Outer Wilds on Steam. It's 90 Rand. Like,
fucking go for it. That is like the best 90 Rand you'll ever spend
My
in your
goodness.
life. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. Cool. That's it.
Awesome.
Wow. Sorry, there's an Annapurna collection, which has like, I suppose, the entire collection of games for 1,730 Rand. 16 games.
Oh, that's not bad.
That bundle. Yeah.
That's like 100 Rand a game.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'd buy that.
Some good things. Yeah. Okay. Here's my
yeah. Thank you so much for listening, as always. We appreciate you. We love you. And we will be back next week on another episode of Checkpoint Chat. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.